Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's session. This is our second last workshop session. We'll have a final session tomorrow. In today's and tomorrow's sessions, we will be discussing group discussions, go through the basics of what is involved in a group discussion, how do we participate in a group discussion, etc. Kindly keep your mics muted unless you want to say something, in which case you can unmute yourself and then raise your concern. Okay, so let's begin for today. Is everybody able to hear me clearly and is everyone able to see the slides on their screens? Okay, right. Let's proceed then. Group discussions, especially in the context of hiring a candidate after an interview, perhaps. Okay, now what is our agenda for today's session? We will see what a group discussion is. I need to check once again. You are able to see each element appearing on the slide, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll have a quick look at what a group discussion is. We'll look at why we need group discussions at all. Why are they a good tool for hiring? Why is it that after we have submitted our resume, after we have passed the interview with flying colors, we still need to have this one final hurdle before we are hired? What are the different kinds of group discussion topics that we might get? Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but we will get to see the different kinds of topics broadly. Are there any rules that we are supposed to follow when we are taking part in a group discussion? How do we lead a group discussion? Does everyone need to be ready to lead a group discussion? Who will lead a group discussion if everybody in that group, is an equal candidate? If you're not leading a GD, then you would be participating in a GD. So, what is the difference? How do you operate differently if you are leading a group discussion and if you're participating in a group discussion? What is a group discussion? Like I already mentioned, group discussions are a tool. And what do they assess? What do they see? They see how well you operate in a team. How well do you perform with others in a similar capacity? That is, how well do you interact with others? In short, they assess your interpersonal skills. This is the kind of group discussion that is used as a hiring tool in job interviews or after job interviews. There is another kind of group discussion known as a focused group discussion. A focused group discussion is not a hiring tool, rather, it is a research tool. So, it is used for market research, it is also used for social sciences research, and it tries to see why a certain group of people, let's say customers, who frequent a certain enterprise or a business, who buy a certain product, behave in a certain manner. What motivates them to come to a particular restaurant, buy a certain toothpaste, choose a certain shampoo? Why is it that this particular product is preferred over other products, etc.? So, this is a research tool. A focused group discussion is a research tool, whereas the kind of group discussions that we will be considering today is a hiring tool. It is a tool very much like an interview. And this hiring tool tries to analyze how well you function in a group. Whereas The research tool tries to find the motivations behind people's actions. Why do they think in a certain way? Why do they behave in a certain way? For the purposes of this session, we will only be concerned with the first kind of group discussion, not with focused group discussions. Okay? Now, when I say interpersonal skills, what exactly do I mean? Sometimes in a workplace, you will need to negotiate with others who might not agree with your viewpoint. Negotiation is an interpersonal skill. Sometimes you will need to work together as a team, oftentimes setting aside your personal goals so that you can work together and achieve a team goal or an organizational goal. Teamwork is an interpersonal skill. Conflict resolution. There is an acute disagreement between two teammates, let's say. You cannot move forward unless you resolve that conflict. In that case, conflict resolution is also an interpersonal skill. Now, the funny thing is, you do not actually get to learn any of these in a university. Okay? The university, however, does provide you a space wherein you can interact with others, wherein you can expose yourself or yourselves to conditions where you'll need to negotiate or work together as a team or resolve conflicts, such that your interpersonal skills can develop. Okay? At the end of the day, however, all of these are communicational skills. That is why we have group discussions as a module in your communication skills workshop. Okay, is everybody all right? Okay. If
Yes,
there are any concerns, please unmute yourself and tell me what is wrong, okay? I might be switching between the tabs frequently, which is why I constantly come back and ask you if you're all right. Right. Listening skills. This is something that we overlook a lot of times because in most social contexts, we see people impatiently waiting for a chance to speak. We rarely ever get to see people who listen actively. In a group discussion, you can speak meaningfully only if you listen actively. So, this is not a one man show. This is most certainly a kind of exercise where you will need to listen to others just as much or even more than you speak. A group discussion can also very clearly analyze whether you are good at communicating any kind of a message in a crisp and clear manner, in a concise and unambiguous manner. Okay? Do you just beat about the bush without ever getting to the point? Within a limited time limit, how effectively can you communicate? All of these are skills that can be assessed using a group discussion. It can also see how knowledgeable you are, how creative you are, and how spontaneous you are. The most stressful thing about a group discussion, oftentimes, is that it is so spontaneous. You don't actually get any time to prepare, or you get very little time to prepare. Now, what happens when you get very little time to prepare is one, all your weaknesses are on full display. If, for example, you have trouble with grammar, or if you have trouble with pronunciation, then in the manner in which you speak, all of those flaws will be perfectly visible. If, for example, you pretend to be very nice to others, but inwardly you're very selfish, then that will also be clearly visible in your group discussion. Okay? All of these things will just come to the surface when you are put in a context or put in a spot where you need to communicate spontaneously. Where you can't plan, where you can't script every word that you're going to say. This is why group discussions are stressful. Now, how can you overcome this? You can overcome this quite simply by paying attention to others as much as you pay attention to yourself. You're not just planning on what to speak, you're also taking inputs from others. This is very valuable in a group discussion. When somebody is trying to hire you after a group discussion, they are also trying to see whether you will be a good value fit or culture fit with that company. Another reminder to keep yourselves muted unless you have something to say. All companies have certain values that they uphold, a certain company culture or a work culture that they espouse. And so, it is very important for that company to ensure that a new hire is going to fit into that environment, fit into that work ethic. Okay? And this is something that they try to analyze or assess through a group discussion. Group discussion is that kind of an exercise or a platform where if you are not fit for something, that will be plainly visible because all your weaknesses are going to be just out there for everyone to see. Okay? So it'll be very clear for somebody to see whether you're going to fit into a team or you're not going to fit into a team. That is why a group discussion is a valuable hiring tool or a hiring exercise. What are the different kinds of GD topics? Some GD topics are general in nature. They're concerned with general knowledge or awareness. They do not specify anything. Okay? Not about a specific context, not about a specific case, but it does require you to have a certain degree of general awareness. For example, small businesses are an important lifeline of India's cities and need to be supported more. It has not spelled out the name of any particular small business. It has not actually charted out a context within which you're supposed to approach this topic. However, it requires you to be aware of what are the kind of small businesses that operate in India. How can they be supported? What is the difference between a small business and a big business? And why are we discussing small businesses specifically? India lives in the heart of its 20 somethings. That is, youngsters are the power of India. Again, it does not specify anything, but you are required to have a certain degree of awareness about what the lives of youngsters are like in India in the current moment in order to be able to effectively answer this question. So, these are both examples of a general GD topic, which requires you to have some kind of general awareness or knowledge, but not specific in depth topic awareness. Some other topics are argumentative topics or debatable topics. This is similar to what we saw in our last workshop session. An argumentative topic or a debatable topic does not have a set right answer or a set wrong answer. Rather, people can take different perspectives on an argumentative topic or a debatable topic. So you only have an opinion on it. And different people will invariably have different opinions on it, which means within a single group there can be as many opinions as there are people. Okay? That is why it can get argumentative. People won't agree with one another. Okay? But remember that you're not actually required to persuade everybody to think in your manner. You're only required to be able to arrive at a consensus with others who hold opinions different from yours. So you're not supposed to be fighting with them. You're also not required to agree with them 100%. You're only required to work together with them as a team. You're only required to listen to them actively. Take into account their perspectives or their inputs. For example, qualified professionals should look for opportunities in India instead of migrating abroad. Some people will say, no, if better opportunities are available abroad, they can certainly migrate. Some might say, no, those who are educated in India should stay in India so that our country can benefit from the skills of our people. There should not be another brain drain here. Yeah? Some people will take that opinion. So different people can have different opinions and different reasons as to why they hold those opinions. So you have to respect the reasons and the opinions of somebody who disagrees with you. Another argumentative topic. A university education is not worth pursuing in India today. No two people will agree on that topic. Some will say it is worth pursuing. Some will say it is not worth pursuing. Some will say it is worth pursuing if you can get into an elite institution. Okay? So people's opinions will greatly differ. This is also an example of an argumentative topic or a debatable topic. Another kind of a topic is called an abstract topic. Abstract as opposed to concrete. Concrete is where everything is specified. Abstract, on the other hand, deals with ideas. Ideas which are not clearly specified, broad ideas, which you can think of in any context, which you can approach from any perspective. For example, change is the only constant in existence. What kind of change are we talking about? The topic does not mention that. When it says something like existence, what kind of existence are we talking about? Are we talking about our workplace existence? Are we talking about our familial existence? Are we talking about existence in an existential sense, as an existing as a human being? We don't actually know. We can interpret this idea in any context as we see fit, but we should be able to justify or provide our take on the idea in that specific context. Okay? The grass is always greener on the other side. That is a very idiomatic way to present that idea. What grass? What green? What other side? So, obviously, we understand that this is not even speaking about grass in the first place. The idea here is that we will always find something that we do not currently have more appealing than whatever it is that we currently have. Okay? It doesn't specify what do we currently have, what is it that we don't have. It doesn't specify any of these things. Nothing is made concrete. Everything is left as ideas so that we can take the topic and interpret it and approach it from our own perspectives. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Yes,
queries
ma'am.
or clarifications? Some of you mentioned in the forum that you had trouble finding the link to the workshop session. It is given in the course calendar, isn't it?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It
Yes.
is given.
Ma'am, I have just a little bit confusion between abstract and general.
Abstract and general.
Ye-
Okay. What is the confusion? Ask.
in general, as you said, the awareness in general is a topic kind of thing in which we need to be aware of the certain situation. And in abstract, we are elaborating the situation that we are not into.
So I think you get the general idea, okay?
Mhm.
But the difference here is actually that in general, even if the topic is a general topic, nothing is left as ideas. Small businesses, that's not an idea. That's an actual thing. There are actual small businesses in India, right? India's cities, not an idea. We have cities. How to support a business, that's not an idea. It's an actual action plan. What can we do? Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Now I got
As
it.
opposed to that, look at an abstract topic. Everything is left as an idea there. Change is the only constant in existence. It doesn't actually mention what kind of change. So here, change is not specified as any one kind of change. For example, when you grow from 7 years old to 17 years old, there is a great deal of change in you. But that's not one kind of change. There are several different kinds of change that happen to you. You start your career, let's say when you are 20 to 23 years old. By the time you're 30, there will be a great deal of change in your career. Again, not one kind of change, several different kinds of change. Here, change is used as an idea which you can interpret in your own context and thus answer the question. In a general topic, that is not the case. There are several small businesses. It is up to you to decide what kind of small business you want to talk about. Small business is not used as an idea. Small business is used as a concrete phenomenon. There are small businesses in India. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Excuse
Anything
me,
else?
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in this abstract topic, no, how do we know whether this is the way the recruiter is expecting us to talk about the topic? Because it's a GD, no, ma'am. Everyone will be having their own views, no. How do you know this is correct or wrong based on the situation?
In an abstract topic, like in an argumentative or debatable topic, there is no right or wrong. So, how do we know what they are expecting? We can't. If they had specific expectations of that sort, they would not use an abstract topic. Okay? That much you can be sure about.
Yes, ma'am.
What you need to be careful about when you get an abstract topic is not that. You need to be careful about how you are interpreting it. Let's say if I interpret change as a change in the kind of skills that I possess. I go from 23 to 30. There is a great deal of change in the kind of skills that I possess. I'm just giving you an example, okay? Change can be interpreted in several different ways. But the way in which I interpret it, I should be able to give sufficient examples, sufficient cases, sufficient arguments to substantiate my viewpoint. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
You need to be careful about having sufficient content or having relevant content, relevant points in order to back up your claims, regardless of how you choose to interpret an abstract topic, because that is what adds meaning to your contribution. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, ma'am, live workshop lectures links are still not provided. I am an ES student. Are you talking about the recordings or are you talking about today's session? Because today's session, I would have to assume that the links are provided because otherwise, how would you guys show up? Are you talking about the recordings, Ananya? Recordings. Okay. So, recordings, they will be uploaded to YouTube shortly. See, our workshops sessions are not yet done, right? We're still going on with them. So, give it a little while, then they'll be uploaded, and then the links will be updated on the course calendar. Right. Some sample topics for your consideration. Too much thinking leads to the death of doing. What kind of a topic is that? What kind of a topic is
Abstract.
that?
Abstract.
It is an abstract topic. Yes, it is an abstract topic. Why do you say it is an abstract topic? Because it doesn't specify anything. Thinking about what? Doesn't say. Doing what? Doesn't say. Death, for instance, it's used entirely in an idiomatic sense. Okay? That is, nobody is dying here. Rather, some action is ceasing to be. That is why the word death is used here. So, nothing is used as a concrete phenomenon. Everything is used as an idea only, an abstract idea, which you can interpret in different contexts. The youth of India needs to focus on gaining skills more than knowledge. What kind of a topic is this?
Argumentative.
Argumentative or a debatable topic. Very good. Companies should make working from office optional. What sort of a topic is this?
General.
Argumentative.
Debatable.
It is an
Argumentative.
argumentative
Debatable.
topic. Argumentative or debatable topic. Why?
Everyone has different
There's
choices.
no one solution for it.
Yes, no one solution, no one right answer. People take different opinions, different standpoints. Very good. Divestment of public sector companies is a good step for India. What kind of a topic is this? Think.
Debatable.
Argumentative.
It can be either. Divestment of public sector companies is a good step for India, can either be a general topic or it can be a debatable topic. Okay? Usually, this topic will be considered a general topic. Do you know why? Because it is referring
The
to a
good
very
steps
specific.
actually means that way, ma'am. Because they
sorry.
already said it's good step means they have already taken into consideration it's a general topic, ma'am.
It is given here as a general topic, but why?
The good step actually means it's not they're asking us to debate. They have actually taken it as a decision, I feel, ma'am.
That might or might not be the case. That's a very good point, actually. If you look at this topic as a general topic, then a good step for India will already be considered a decided fact. So then you will simply be adding to the point. You will be asking yourself, why is it a good step? Okay? That's a very good point, Shonali. But sometimes somebody can also interpret it as, that's not actually true. I do not agree with the topic. I am going to give arguments against the motion. In debates, the topic is called the motion. Okay? So I am not going to argue for the motion. That is, I am not going to give arguments that say divestment of public sector companies is a good step for India. But I am going to give arguments that mean the opposite. Divestment of public sector companies is not a good step for India. Somebody can choose to disagree here as well. If somebody chooses to disagree, then it would be an argumentative topic. If, on the other hand, like Shonali, you were to take this as a decided fact. Just a second, Sumit. A decided fact. Then this would be a general topic for you. But that is not the point that I originally wanted to bring to your attention. It is considered a general topic more often than it is considered a debatable topic because divestment of public sector companies is an actual happening, it's an actual phenomenon that is going on. Okay? So this happens in the case of specific public sector companies which the government is allowing to be made into private sector companies. The government is letting go of its control. So there are specific cases, like when you say small businesses, when you say public sector companies, you're referring to specific cases. And as an Indian, this will form a part of your general awareness. What are the public sector companies? Are they being divested? Is our government's policy changing? This is part of your general awareness or your general knowledge. Okay? That is why this topic is considered a general topic more often than it is considered a debatable topic. However, even within that realm, even within that framework of considering public sector companies and their divestment as a topic of general awareness, you can choose to agree with the motion or you can choose to disagree with the motion. So, to a great degree, whether or not this is a general topic or an argumentative topic depends on the manner in which the group approaches the topic. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Sumit, you had a question.
Ma'am, I was saying that in the fourth point, divestment of public sector companies is a good step for India. If we just add a question mark in this, then it will become a debatable topic, right?
It will, yes. That is also a very good input. Thank you, Sumit. Now, what does that question mark do? Remember when Shonali said a good step for India is a decided fact in that question? If you add a question mark, it will stop being a decided fact. It looks like a question that the panel is posing to the group. Do you think it's a good step for India? Do you not think it's a good step for India? Why? Why not? Yes, very good point, Sumit. The brain drain has caused more harm than good for India. What kind of a topic is this?
Debatable?
It is a debatable topic. It is a debatable topic. The battle against climate change depends on the youth of the world. What kind of a topic is this?
General.
General topic. Yes, it is a general topic. Very good. Sai Ishwar has a question. So, if we can add info to a topic, it will become general. If we can take two sides, then it becomes argumentative. If it is interpretation, it becomes abstract, right? Kind of, sort of right. Yes, kind of, sort of right, I would say. But this is not a rule. It's not a rule. Rather, these are approaches. Remember, this is not physics, this is communication. So, I cannot give you laws. I can only tell you that if you take a certain approach, then that means you are looking at the topic as a debatable topic. If you take another approach, then you would be looking at the topic as a general topic. But that's a very good way of summing it up. Good job, Saishwar. Right. Moving on. What are the rules that we should follow in a group discussion? Now, we are talking here about a group with roughly 8 members. And if you have 10 minutes for the group discussion, this is how the time will be portioned out. Okay? You will have a panel of judges. It does not always have to be a 3-member panel. There will be a panel of judges. And the panel, somebody from the panel, will read out the topic or the case. You can allot 1 minute, roughly, for the reading out of the topic. After the panel reads out the topic, the leader of the group discussion will begin to speak. 1 minute can be given to the leader in order to set the direction of the forthcoming discussion. Now we are assuming that there are 8 members in this group, right? One person is the leader. Then there are 7 members. Each member gets 1 minute to speak. Okay? Usually in group discussions, there is no set order in which the discussion progresses. But given that there is no set order, it is also very likely for the discussion to progress in the order of your seating. just to ensure that nobody hogs a lot of time to themselves. Okay? It is also very natural for the discussion to progress in the order of your seating. Each member gets 1 minute, and in the end, the leader has to wrap up or summarize the discussion, for which he or she will once again get 1 minute. Okay? This is just about the allotment of time. We will look at each of these positions. What does a leader do? What does a member or a participant do? We look at all of that in detail. Now, how do you lead a discussion? When the panel is reading out the topic or the case, listen very carefully. There might be some operative phrases, some very important words in that topic which you will need to immediately focus on, because you'll have to speak first, right? So take down notes or register that in your mind clearly. Think about the case even before you speak. Okay? When do you volunteer to start a group discussion? If you are volunteering to start a group discussion, there are a couple of things that you need to bear in mind. The first thing is that leading a group discussion does not make you more important than the participants of the group discussion. This is not a hierarchy. Okay? These are just different roles that people play in a team. In a lot of resumes, you see phrases like team lead. Okay? A team lead is also just a role that a person plays in relation to other members of the team. It does not in itself point to a certain hierarchy. If a team lead cannot operate effectively with the team, then that person is not a team lead, quite simply. Okay? So, the one thing that you need to remember, most important thing, you are not more important than the others. And the second thing that you need to remember, your role here is to direct the discussion or to open the discussion so that others can contribute more points to the discussion. Your role is not to say all the most important things about the topic within that 1 minute. So you should be able to direct further discussion once you open the topic to your team or to your group. You should not volunteer to start a group discussion or volunteer to lead a group discussion if you feel like you have nothing meaningful to say. Remember, this is a spontaneous activity. You might not always have something meaningful to say. If you feel like you do not have something meaningful to say, it is preferable to not volunteer to start. If you do volunteer to start, be formal, be courteous, and add to the discussion in a meaningful manner. These are imperative. You should not just start the discussion simply because you think that this is going to reflect better on your character or on your application. That should not be the case. Let's say the panel has read out the case, and all of a sudden you feel very, very blank. So you know you're not going to volunteer to lead the discussion. But you also feel scared about what am I going to say when my turn comes. The thing you need to do here is to listen carefully to whoever is speaking. Whatever they say can actually trigger our thoughts or our opinions, our arguments in a particular direction. So you gain inputs from the rest of the group until you feel like you can add to that discussion.
Mummy!
Anu,
Mummy! Nikhil!
Anu
देखिए
Maurya.
देखिए टॉर्च दे आओ. Oh,
It's okay, but please be careful about your mics. Right. You need to be formal when you start your opening statement. So you start with a formal sentence like, may I start with the permission of the chair and the group? It's okay, Anu, don't worry about it. Or, I would like to begin with the permission of the chair and the group, or with the permission of the panel and the group. With the permission of the judges and my group, may I lead or open the discussion? These are all very courteous ways of starting your statement. In a lot of ways, this is where people stumble. This is actually just a communication skill. You should know where to use what phrase. You should know how to phrase something so that your point will be well received. But this is where a lot of students face difficulty. That is why this sentence, these kind of little tips are very helpful. Right. Once you begin, you state the topic, and sometimes there can be a general view concerning the topic. And your views might be different from the general view. If that is the case, then you state the general opinion and then you state your views. Once again, this is not the law. This is just an approach, a formula, maybe, a strategy which you can use. Okay? Let's say your views are not different from the general opinion. In that case, just omit this third section. It does not need to be there. You can state the topic and give the general opinion and set the direction for further discussion by saying, I look forward to hearing more on this from my team. Immediately you're opening a door. Okay? Until then, it was just the panel speaking. Now you're opening a door and inviting others to bring forth their arguments, their points of view. This is the most important role that a leader performs in a group discussion. So if you are going to lead, you should be willing to open this door for others. While others are speaking, make sure to take notes because you'll not be able to recollect everything immediately when you need to make your summary. After everybody speaks, you'll need to speak once again. You'll need to give a summary of the discussion. And in the summary, you'll not be adding any new points, right? You'll only be summing up what others have said. Okay? Kind of driving the discussion to its conclusion. Setting the direction, driving the discussion to its conclusion. This is your role if you are a leader. And it is very important to remember you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be a know it all. You just should be willing to facilitate the discussion. This opening door business, that is what is known as facilitating the discussion. Here is an example of an effective opening in a group discussion. This is our topic. Small businesses are an important lifeline of India's cities and need to be supported more. I would like to take the lead in this discussion with the permission of the chair and my group. Okay, now, if you notice the second sentence, the general view, you already see that the leader has contextualized the topic, contextualized it in that time of the pandemic. During the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, small businesses suffered. Now, what are these small businesses? Tea and tiffin stalls, tailors, craftsmen, daycare services, beauty parlors, etc. faced huge losses. They found it very difficult to keep themselves functional. Remote work is not an option for small businesses. This is something that is only available to middle and upper middle class. If that is the case, then how can we ensure that small businesses can be resilient or resistant to disasters? What kinds of support systems can we conceive and install? I look forward to hearing everyone's views on this. So, the leader has stated the topic, contextualized it, given us further direction to think about the topic. What are some of the questions that we can address here? The leader is prompting us to think in a particular direction, and then the leader invites everybody's views on the topic. Do you see what I mean by facilitating the discussion here? The leader is not hogging the mic. The leader is not saying, I have so many important things to say. The leader is rather just saying, this topic can be discussed in several different ways. These are some of the questions that we can address here. I would really like to say, or I would really like to hear what everybody else has to say about this. Okay? Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I want somebody. Use the slide. Use the slide as an example. Look at the slide. Refer to the slide. But here I want you to play the role of the group discussion lead. Play the role of the group discussion lead. Just present to me whatever you see on the slide as if you were a leader in a group discussion. Leela Bhuvanavalli. Yes, please go on. The person who's raised her hand, please ask your question. Oh, okay. No question then. Right. Take 1 minute. Just look at the slide, put together all of that information, maybe phrase it as you would like to say it, and then I will call out names.
I would like to take the lead in this discussion with the permission of the madam.
Yes, go on.
See, COVID-19 has affected many businesses, which are small businesses such as tea stalls, tiffin stalls, tailors, craftsmen's, daycare services, and beauty parlors. Much more than big services like Amazon or a big shop like DMart. The remote service works only for the middle and upper class. That is, they have enough resources to facilitate far communication and to provide their services without physical presence. How can we ensure that these small businesses can be disaster resilient? Whenever this kind of incident occur, they do not have the resources. What kind of support systems can we conceive and install for them? I was looking forward to hear everyone's view on this.
Very good, Sai Ishwar. That was very well delivered. Okay? Now, this is just an example, right? This is just an example. You have the slide in front of you, so you can actually deliver this content very clearly and effectively. But this is what you'll need to do in a group discussion. If and when you show up for placements and somebody is looking to hire you and you are put into a group for a GD, this is what you will be expected to do. Okay? Use this as a practice, maybe. Keep this in your mind. Don't just forget this after the session, right? Be ready to take the lead. Add meaning to the discussion. Facilitate the discussion for others, even when you do not have a script in front of you. Very good. Thank you, Saishwar. Let's move on then. If you're not leading a GD, what are you doing? You're participating in it. So how do you participate in a GD? And how is that different from leading a GD? Okay? Even if you're not leading a group discussion, you will need to clearly identify what the central point of the topic is. And you'll need to structure your arguments around that central point. Okay? Otherwise, it looks like you're getting distracted by some minor issue in that point. You'll need to easily grasp the central concern in the issue and phrase your ideas or bring out your suggestions in relation to that central concern. You've listened very carefully to the panel reading out the topic. You understand what the central concern of the topic is. Now we are going to plan what it is that you want to say. Okay? When you are trying to figure out what it is that you want to say, you can refer back to the topic. The central concern can be split into 2 or 3 points, not more than 3 points because you only have 1 minute to speak. So you split that central concern into 2 or 3 points, and then you try to ask yourself, how do I respond to this first point? How do I respond to the second point? How do I respond to the third point? Okay? So there'll be one central concern which you can break down into 2 or 3 points, and you address each of these points in turn. So maximum you will have 3 points, right? You do not have time for more than this. That is why you're limiting yourself to 3 points. Once you've decided what it is that you're going to say, you'll have to structure your argument in your mind. That is, you'll have to decide how you're going to bring these points to the group in a very well-worded sentence. Now, this first instruction, start with a clear and emphatic topic statement. That is not the same as what the leader does in his opening statement. Remember how you understood the central concern and you broke the central concern down to those 2-3 main points? Those 2-3 main points are the things to which you will invite everyone's attention using this emphatic topic statement. Let's say you broke down your central concern into 2 or 3 main points, but you still don't want to speak about all of them. You only want to speak about one of those points. That is perfectly acceptable. Okay? For example, we're going back here. In this particular topic, small businesses are an important lifeline of India's cities and need to be supported more. I break down the topic into 2 or 3 different points, of which lifeline is my point. That is, of all the 2 or 3 points, this is the one that I want to talk about. This lifeline point is the one that I want to focus on. In that case, my topic statement or my clear and emphatic topic statement would be concerned with that lifeline element of the motion that is given to you. So I would be saying, I agree that small businesses are the lifeline of India's cities. Why? Then I'll have to give reasons as to why I think they are the lifeline. Our cities become operational or functional only when these physical service providers are actively engaged in the functioning of the city. Okay? Our cities are not just spaces connected between one laptop and another laptop, one server and another server. We are also most certainly linked physically by people, intermediaries, service providers who cannot be omitted from this system. If our city were an organism, we cannot omit them. Okay? If they cease to function, It also implies that the city ceases to function effectively. The most advanced, technologically advanced business will suffer if these service providers are not there, are not operational. Okay? They subsist together almost as if in a symbiotic relationship. Is that clear to everybody? That is why we need to be concerned about supporting these small businesses in the event of a disaster. As people who receive the services of these providers, how can we contribute to making them disaster resilient? Towards that, I have one or two suggestions to make. What are these suggestions? Okay? This will be my conclusion. So I have kind of zeroed in on one point within that motion, within that topic, taken that for my own consideration, justified why it is that I have chosen that specific operative word, and given more suggestions as to how that operative word can help us in supporting or in harboring an attitude that is positive and encouraging towards the small businesses. If possible, you can also add a question at the end of it. Okay? Add a question at the end of it. For example, if I say something like, somebody mentioned Amazon, and let's say we're talking about a small tiffin stall right next to their city office. Just a scenario, right? But this tiffin stall supplies the workers there. So you're wondering about how this huge corporation can help this small tiffin stall. And you can only connect the two services in terms of the employees there. The employee in Microsoft or Amazon comes to dine at this tiffin stall. In that case, how do you keep this lifeline running even if there is a disaster? And I can open up that as a question so that others in the group can also contribute to the discussion on similar lines. But you're not repeating anybody's points, you are adding to that point. Okay? Is that clear to everybody? Somebody
Yes,
had a
ma'am.
question. Somebody raised their hand, but they also lowered their hand, so I'm not sure what is going on. If anybody has a question, can that person please bring up their question? Nothing, I'm assuming? Okay, then. We only have 2 more minutes. I do not want to keep going with today's session. Just opening the platform. Yes, for questions. Fire away.
If the leader is telling some points, no, we are supposed to only stick to it, or can we give our own ideas? If we don't like the points the leader says, is it the compulsion that we have to definitely tell that points of the leader?
No, you don't have to suck up to the leader at all. No, you can bring your own perspective, your own ideas. You can add to the discussion. You can respectfully disagree with the leader. It's just that when you disagree with somebody, you should also do that in a courteous manner, right? So sometimes, in a lot of ways, English is more insistent on politeness, the kind of tone that we use, the words that we use. It's very sensitive in that sense. So you need to phrase your disagreement in a correct way so as to respectfully disagree with the leader. We will look at some phrasings which can be used in order to respectfully disagree with somebody, or in order to disagree with a part of what someone is saying, in order to add another point in a different direction, etc., in tomorrow's session. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes, Sumit.
ma'am, sometimes the group discussion happen publicly. So is these points also help to participate as a audience in the group discussion, or they are only for the participants?
These are pointers for the participants in a group discussion.
Okay, ma'am.
So we're assuming that you are in a group and you are a potential hire for the company, and this is part of your interview or hiring process. That is what we're assuming here.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Okay. Right, that is the end of today's session. Thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you, Anu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
all of you for showing up. I hope this stays with you and that this was helpful to you.
Thank you,
Right.
ma'am.
Bye, everyone.
एक